Hey everyone, this is Josh back with Cardboard Chronicles. Today I'm speaking with Tom. Tom's known for his investing in flip threads on Blowout, so we'll talk a little bit about that and also, his history in the hobby and talk about what he likes to collect. So how you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good tonight. Hey, so why don't you start us off? Tell us about yourself, your history in the hobby, what got you started, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a sports fan since I can remember, growing up outside of Cleveland, Ohio. We're diehard Browns, Indians, Cavs fans, and I think probably started collecting when I was 6 or 7. And my best friend got me into it. That probably was around like 1990, 91, around there, the mass production days. Um, Once I started, I was hooked. The buying and selling and trading and flipping and getting new stuff. I was super into that from the beginning. For some kid in a small town before eBay, before all that stuff, I had a pretty good collection growing up. Collected all the way through late high school, early college. Then, other things caught my interest for a while. I think like a lot of people. And I didn't totally get out of collecting, but there were other things, other fun times that were happening. So it kind of took a back seat, which is kind of ironic because being a Cleveland guy, I spent a lot of the '90s, collecting guys like Tim Couch and Albert Bell and Carlos Baerga. And when this guy LeBron James comes around, his stuff starts coming out. I was, out partying at college, but I don't regret it. So fast forward a couple years, till I was a little bit older, a little more wise, and a little bit more married. Started to, some of those opportunities weren't there anymore for fun. So I started getting back into the hobby, and uh, it had changed, but it was kind of the same in a lot of ways. From there, I still kind of had the same business mindset. And after I got into it, I just realized how big of a market it was, and started thinking ways. Okay, well, how can I be involved in this without blowing my entire bankroll on it? Because there are still other things that probably are better to spend your money on than just sports cards. But it's fun. I enjoyed it. And that's kind of how I got started into using my interest in kind of investing and flipping to actually doing it with cards.
Yeah, sure. So what do you collect? Try to sum up all the different things you collect. That you showed me some of your sealed wax before we got on. What else do you collect?
Yeah, that's becoming a big part of my collection. But when I got started, I was a big football guy in when I got back into it. So I started collecting contenders, uh, football autos, like the legit rookie tickets, none of the variation, cracked ice, any of that stuff that's ruined the product. But I think I have a collection of right now. It's like 1,500 separate base rookie ticket autos.
Uh,
And then the funny thing was that's kind of how I got started in flipping, which I'll probably get into here shortly. But I just kind of really got to know the market, and just having been around college football and being really close to the game and being a part of it when I was in college. It was kind of cool to see these cards of guys that I personally knew,
yeah,
or we at the Bowling Green State University, we had some good football years then, so we personally played against. It's kind of cool to actually start collecting that and being a part of that. And the way contenders are so robust in their checklist, it's almost like that era's history of football in it, right? Where you can get 150 rookies and two-thirds of them barely played in the league, but you remember, oh, I remember this guy in college. It was kind of neat. So that got me into it. Other than that, I've really been into more basketball lately. It's just a fun, exciting time in the league, and the market's kind of gone bonkers the last couple of years. So it's just kind of fun to ride that wave and be a part of that.
so
Um,
what do you collect basketball wise then?
a couple things. I got two things going on right now. I have the investment in the flip thread, which is mostly basketball because again, that's where the money is. And
Yep.
vintage baseball, basketball seems to be where the money is right now. But personally, you gotta have MJ, right? LeBron, because again, I was a Cleveland guy growing up, 40 miles away from him when he was in school. And then more recently, Ben Simmons is another PC guy. So those are kind of my PCs, and then you have the whole flip thing, which sometimes is the same guy, sometimes related, but sometimes it's guys that I don't even like or care about. I just kind of realize the market's good for them.
Right.
So might sell that.
Sure. So you've been kind of jumping into the stuff. So why don't you talk about the thread and sort of like what got you started in the flipping game and what you enjoy about it?
Yeah, I think I brought it up before. It's something that probably started when I was 7. You know, getting Frank Thomas rookie cards or Ken Griffey rookie cards. Stuff like that. But really, when I got back into it was 2012ish. I'm getting back in the market. I'm trying to figure out ways that you know I could get a collection without again spending all my paycheck on it. Um, so I just started kind of flipping. And one day I was going through check out my cards. I had a pretty good idea of contenders back then. Um, to the point where like if you name a player, I could probably tell you what year and if it's a short print, just off the top of my head, what literally the print run of it is right now, which is important because so many of those are super short printed.
Mm-hmm.
I was on check out my cards one day and there was a David DeCastro 2012 variation, and the guy wanted $49 for it. And I'd never seen this card actually sold on eBay, but I realized, all right, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, so he's collected, and I've never seen this card, and I was aware there's only 10 of them made. So I checked eBay really quick. There were no past sales or anything like that. So I just bought it for $49. 2 weeks later, I sold it for $350. Yeah. So it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. So what do I want to do? Do I just want to spend this $350 and call it a day, or and I thought to myself, all right, well, let's kind of keep going with this. What can I do with this $350 that would, um, you know, make it so I can get even more money out of it, or buy something even cooler? I started doing that a little bit. It was kind of when the Fleer Jordans started taking off. Not the rookie year because that had already happened, but the other year Fleer went crazy for a while.
Yeah.
And I kind of caught on to the beginning of that because one day I was just surfing and there was a 82nd year, the 87 Fleer PSA 9 was just out on buy it now for $135, which was basically the price back when I was a kid trying to collect it for, your local card shop, raw, beat up, probably been dropped a few times card. I just thought to myself, like, well, if that rookie card PSA 9s are already $4,000, the second year, which is, there's a lot less printed of, is 135, seems to be a little bit mispriced. So I started picking up a few of those, and I was able to, sell some non-rookie Jordan Fleer stuff, and it just compounded from there.
Yeah. So can you talk about the importance of like understanding the market when you're trying to flip? Because I hear people that want to get involved in flipping and I think they can just kind of jump in and do it right away. When the guys that I know that flip, and myself included, it takes a little bit more effort than that, a little more skill.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, and again, this is where I got my start. If you want to be successful at flipping, you need to, I guess, be knowledgeable or specialize in an area or two.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
For me, it was contenders because again, I knew so much about every contenders card that had been made in the last 15 years. I can immediately spot something that's underpriced, and if it's a buy it now on eBay, and I know to flip it.
Yep.
You kind of get a feel for where the market's going, and again, this market is so robust right now. There's so many different things. Like it's almost impossible to like be the master of knowledge on everything.
Yep.
I don't think one person could understand pre-war and then the early Topps baseball vintage into 80s graded football into 90s inserts into what's going on now. So if you can specialize in like a couple areas or even players and really understand that person's market and what's going on as well as anybody else, that really gives you an advantage rather than just looking at the entire world of sports cards and hoping to find the next PMG green in a dollar box at a card show somewhere.
Yeah.
That's just luck. But if you really know the market well, better than anybody else, then you can find deals.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to summarize it. I mean, I know for me it's like 90s basketball and only a few key players and then like some of the newer like random sets from Panini, but there's no way to know all of it, right?
And that's a great point because again, I kind of have my specialty with I know contenders football, I know
Yeah,
a lot of modern basketball. I don't think any of my flips have been 90s, and I know there's so much money in the 90s inserts, and it's just I don't know I missed it, so I'm sure it's an opportunity, and a lot of people make a lot of money at it, but
yeah,
I just don't know the market.
right,
So and that's okay. I don't need to know every market. I can know a couple and do well there.
yeah. So I have a tougher question. Adam and I talked about the flipping stuff a little bit, and the question that was posed was like, what's the moral compass on flipping, and what's like your take on the morality side of it?
Just be honest with people and don't rip anybody off. Like, look, you know, if you're upfront with, if a person's setting the price, and you're upfront with them about the deal, then there's, nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of times you don't know their circumstance, right? So if you see a card that's $100 on eBay and somebody's selling it for 60, right?
Yeah,
You don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe they really need the money, or maybe they just don't care. They just want to get rid of something. It's like when someone has a yard sale and they're selling their, workout equipment, and it's way below what they could get for it, but they just want it out of their house.
sure,
Yes, that's a lot different than like manipulating or lying to somebody or misleading them. I think when you're doing that, it's wrong. It's not the right thing to do. It kind of creates a bad environment for everybody. Probably hurts the entire hobby. And I don't know. I don't know if I believe in karma or anything, but it's negative energy, and you don't
sure,
need. So you know what? If it's two adults that both kind of understand what they're doing, um, and come to an agreement on it, it's fine. Even if one person, eventually leaves money on the table,
right,
um, you're still creating value again. Because if I'm an expert in something, if I know contenders better than anybody else, and you don't, and you just see this, I don't know, name a player in football. You name a card, but you don't know how limited it is. You haven't put in that knowledge yet, and you put it up on eBay for 500. I can buy it, um, you know, put the right listings together, sell it for 750 because I really understand the market. It's not bad that I didn't message you and say, hey, you're not selling this for enough. You need to up the price $200. No, you got your price that you're happy with. I'm able to go ahead and get the price I'm happy with, and you know what? It's nobody feels cheated.
right. So have you ran into any situations where people like won't want to sell to you because they know you're gonna flip it, or has that ever come up?
No, or maybe once. Maybe once. So this was during that Jordan Fleer craze. And I was at a local card shop. And it's a great card shop, great owner, guy's knowledgeable. Um, but the Jordan Fleer thing happened so quick. I was there and I'm looking on the shelf and he has 5 boxes of um, uh, 89 Fleer, something that's since dropped and it's very valuable now. And you know, he's asking $80 a piece for them. They were selling on eBay for 220, 240 all day. Um, so I said, hey, I'd like I'd like all five. The guy kind of looked at me funny, and he was a smart guy. He knew something was up. Nobody
Yeah,
comes to buys, 5 boxes of 89 Fleer at market value. So he takes a box, looks it up on eBay, says, "How about this? I'll sell you one of the boxes for what I'm asking." And I was fine with it because it's his shop. He could have sold me none. He
right.
realized that it was way underpriced. But I mean, he's in that's his livelihood. This is my hobby, so I didn't have a problem with that. But that might have been the only time that somebody realized that, hey, I'm buying this to flip it.
Right.
So
Are you having more trouble flipping recently? Just because I know I feel like a lot of people are getting a lot smarter about this kind of stuff. eBay and prices are more public. It's a little bit harder and more competitive to do this. Are you finding that at all?
You know, no, because you're still gonna find random stuff. Um, you got to be quick on it.
Yep.
Shoot, there was a night this summer. I was just randomly home from work, sitting on the couch, go on check out my cards, and somebody lists a LeBron 2009 Topps Chrome, just the base, goes for about $100. Guy lists it for $6. So without even thinking, just buy it. I reload the page and there's a Scottie Pippen Revolution Galactic for $1.09. I mean, just again, just don't even think, just click buy. So I mean, they're out there if you know what to look for. And then a few things. This is where it kind of gets into the flipping side of it and the investing side of it. There's other things that I'll pay a totally fair market value for, but I really have a feeling that it's going somewhere and kind of getting in on it's not the ground floor. It's about to take off before too long. And there are still tons of opportunities. They're just a lot harder to find.
Sure. All right. So then jump us into the investing side. So how does it differ in your opinion, and how much of your energy and effort do you split between the two sides?
Okay, well, I'll answer the second question first. It's the flipping part. It's again, it's just kind of paying attention to what's going on, paying attention to the league and what's going on, and just knowing the market and then getting lucky.
Yeah, sure.
Certainly, right? Somebody misprices something, or you watch an auction and you just wait for the off time. The auction ends at 3 in the morning or something like that. Goes for low. But the investment side of it, me, is probably even more fun. And it's all about spotting trends either before they happen or as they're happening.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's the big thing. Because again, the first one was like I said earlier, the PSA 9 Jordan second year Fleer. This card is back then. It was almost 30 years old. It was Jordan. It was in mint condition, and it was $135. Something just wasn't right about that.
Right.
That it should be more. And then I bought it, didn't move for a year and a half, and then prices shot up, and it was an $800 card. And now it's probably a $350 card again. But kind of spotting that trend, and just our hobby, especially basketball, it follows a pattern, right? It's just like with the new Prism release. 2 weeks ago, when the first Prism stuff came out, silvers were sky high, and they've dropped 40% since then.
Right.
The guys that don't perform are gonna drop, and then this summer, a lot of the guys are gonna drop, and then right before the season, they're gonna spike again, right? It's just the way it goes. So if you can time it right, I guess one of my first flips, what I did was for about 3 years in a row, every Christmas, I would buy LeBron Topps Chrome rookie cards, right? $80 a pop. Just wait till playoffs, and they'd sell for double. I mean, it would be that easy. Like if you believe that LeBron was going to get to the playoffs and do well, then it was just easy money, right?
Right.
How 6, 8 years in a row. I've lost track how many years he's been in the finals. So I don't think that one's as easy anymore because stuff's taken off so much. But it was just like, okay, there's a lull right around Christmas week, and then during playoffs, guys that perform, their stuff always gets hot.
Right.
So it's just a lot of it is just kind of pattern recognition and seeing the patterns that go on, and just spotting trends that a few people may be starting to realize, but not everybody.
Yeah, I think there's even a lot of opportunity in the Panini world. Like, you're talking about contenders and some of the older like Fleer 80s stuff, but there's a lot of opportunity with Panini. If you just look at like Prism, like some of that stuff, the prices are just too high in my opinion based on how many they're printing for a lot of that stuff. And you just go on eBay and there's like 500 Luka Doncic Prism Silvers. And if you try to find, a more rare version card of his, it'll be cheaper. It's just like some obvious stuff to me where you see it and you're like, this just feels wrong, right? There's too many. Why are people buying at this price, etc.?
But I have a thought about that, right? Because I've heard a lot of that. The big ones with Ben Simmons that you can, $600-$700 for his silver, but his blue out of 99 goes for less, right? There's only 99. There's probably that year, somewhere between 1,500 to 2,000 silvers. I don't know, somewhere around that. But I have a thought about that, and this is where a lot of people get confused. There's a big difference between rarity and scarcity, right? Think so, like the Jordan Wizards days, right? At this point, Upper Deck was really pumping out a lot of Michael Jordan products, right? And you might have sets. There's one set in particular that there's like 50 or 100 Jordans in the set, and they have a parallel that's numbered to 100, right? And the cards don't go for much because, yeah, this individual card's numbered to 100, but there are 49 other Jordans in that set that are all numbered to 100.
Sure.
So it's, right? Now that card's rare. That number 32 set, that card is rare.
Right.
But now that's compared to a first-year PMG red, right? Now, there are, reds, 135 of them?
100
right?
for basketball.
Yeah, it's not even as rare, but it's scarce. Because scarce is, rare is just like the number, how many there are or something.
Sure.
Scarcity is when the supply and demand intersect. So you can go online and you could probably find those Jordans that I was talking about. And there's probably a bunch of them on eBay. You can buy it now. But good luck finding a PMG red because everybody wants that. Even though there's 135, and that's actually more than card 32 from the Jordan set.
Sure. So for Prism, right? you think people are like combining all the colors, like into one giant pool?
How many colors matter, right? Silver matters, gold obviously matters. I think maybe like the Mojo out of 25 might matter. But it's so interchangeable that one year, there's blues out of 99, another year you don't even have blue, and then another year it's out of 199. So there's no consistency. There's no like legacy there, right? So a lot of those colors, they just blend together. I mean,
sure.
Is it other than the fact that there's, thinking back to Simmons 2016, you have the purple outside of 75 and the blue outside of 99. I mean, is there really a reason to want one much more than the other than the fact that there's like 24 less? Not really. They kind of blend together.
Right.
So, what you've seen with Prism is, first off, you go back to 2012, and, and if you loaded up on those early, you'd be doing great because those are so rare. There's like 180 or so of like the most popular card that year, right? So I remember getting the LeBron. I don't even know I paid $15 for the LeBron 2012, right before he won his championship in Cleveland. And now what? That's a several $100 card,
right?
Because everybody wants it now, right? So those things are so rare, and obviously the print run's gone up over the years. But still, like if you look at it, most of the guys in 20 years will be forgotten about, and there's a card of them that's 1,500 or 2,000, like the Silver Prisms, it won't be worth a whole lot. I mean, think about if this had been done all along, and Kenny Anderson had a card there was 2,000 out of, there wouldn't be 2,000 Kenny Anderson collectors that would pay more than $5 for it. So
right.
It's not going to do anything. But think about it for any of the guys that ended up being the face of the NBA,
right.
Or really transcending sports to be pop culture icons. Because really, that's what you're looking for when you're investing. If you're investing long term, think of it like Jordan, LeBron, Curry. Those guys transcended basketball, became like pop stars, right? They're part of pop culture,
right?
And suddenly, if everybody wants to pour money into them, it was like during Steph Curry mania when his Topps rookie card was going for $400, $500, $600. You had people that hadn't collected in years coming by and just, throwing money at this card they don't really understand because of the FOMO. They don't want to miss out and, have this thing skyrocket to 2,000 and say they didn't get a piece of it, right?
Absolutely.
So you're looking for guys like that.
So the investing, you've kind of already answered it, and it's a pretty easy question, but you're really picking just a few players and you're really honing in on certain things for investing because, like you said, most of it long term is just not going to be there. So how do you kind of choose those smaller areas and players?
Well, there's a couple things you can do. One is you can time it, and this isn't stock market advice, so don't listen to that, right? So this isn't collecting stocks or anything, trading stocks. This is a sports card. So you can time it, or you can kind of pick out things that aren't easily replicated, right? And that's where the scarcity comes into play. So a great example of timing I can tell you is this last spring. It was about a month before the draft, and a month before the draft, nobody talks about the draft because they're talking about the conference finals and the finals coming up, right? And you kind of knew if you paid attention, if you're focused on it, which most people weren't, you knew the big name in this draft was going to be Luka Doncic, and he had one card out. It was the Upper Deck Euro League, right? Um, they weren't that hard to find. They were 80 or $100 each, but nobody had them graded. So about a month and a half before the draft, month before the draft, um, I bought a sealed set of the rainbow, the pattern rainbow, I think it was called. Sent it off. I paid $85 for the set. Sent it off to PSA. It came back as a 10, and it was the only 10 they graded, right? So now I have a pop of one. So you talk about not being able to replicate something. There's a supply. It's one. I own the supply. And then the draft happens, and he gets hyped, and people start getting excited. I paid $85 for that card. I paid 15 to get graded. I sold it for 1100. And just timed it right.
Right.
Right. I mean, again, the downside was so little on that even if it didn't at 10 and only came back at 9, I could probably get my money back.
Right.
So that's one thing you can do. You just time things. The other thing is finding stuff and players that just can't be replicated, right? Like there's not going to be another LeBron. It's like there's not going to be another I don't even think there's going to be another Steph Curry. There might be players that are as good as them, but they're not going to do the same exact thing as them.
Sure.
If you can kind of find where that intersects with different cards and different sets that did the same thing, think of it like, go back to this because it means I know it's way overdone and some people think it's overrated and the hype, but if you go back to the PMGs of the 90s, I mean, you can't replicate that set. Product tried to do it with the college cards a couple years ago, but it wasn't the same. I mean, that set has its place in history.
Right.
Just the 52 mantle that, nobody collected and put in their bike spokes as a kid, you can't replicate that card.
Right. Right.
So part of it is where can I find these players intersecting with, different sets that have come out.
Sure.
Can't be replicated necessarily the same way as when they first came out. If you can do that, and I think Panini's done a decent job of it actually.
Yeah.
Just like Upper Deck did with Exquisite. There's a perfect example, right? Nobody's been able to create a set like that. So that's why those prices are insane. And that's something else that I totally missed out on. And I keep missing out on it. I'm just not an expert in it. I'm not ready to throw $5,000 on a Jordan or LeBron auto that I don't fully understand, right?
Right.
Somebody else might do it and flip it for 10,000 in 2 years, but that's just not my home court. So.
Right. A lot of people always ask me about LeBron specifically or Jordan. Like if they ask me, like, can I just buy anything of those players and make money? And sort of, right? Like some of the cards are gonna stay kind of flat, some will spike. You can kind of look within a player and find more specifically, areas within that player and find like different sets that'll take off more. Or you can sort of like feel out prices that are too low for certain cards. When you see like, for example, if you see like a gold Topps Chrome LeBron take off and double in price, you can kind of see the trend of like, hey, people like the gold stuff. Let me start looking at Panini. That stuff's way too cheap for their gold. You can kind of like see, hey, maybe the golds over there are going to start taking off, right?
Yep.
So you're almost like looking ahead and jumping around and like going the opposite direction of what other people are doing and trying to find, like you said, the next thing.
Yeah. And a lot of times you don't have to find it before everybody else. You just need to find it kind of towards the beginning.
Sure.
If you can do that, then you can be in pretty good shape.
So what about everyone always talks about what's the optic one, not the prism, but the other one. So people are like, oh, they're less printed. How come this one isn't as popular? Where do you decide on that?
I don't know.
Like the Ben Simmons optic, I think goes for like 125, and his prism goes for like 700-800.
It's a good question because what's important in sports cards is legacy, right? That the reason people love base tops and baseball is because it's come out every year since the 50s,
Yeah.
right? Because there's history there, right? And you have that in Prism, and practically it's basically an extension of Topps Chrome, if we want to be honest, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's their copy off of it, right? So you have this lineage of, okay, Topps Chrome's been around forever. We know the refractors are huge. Prism is what we have now, and then you have Optic, which there's probably less of the silvers. Um, some people say like, okay, well, Prism's like finest, and this is going to be a new Topps Chrome. Um, I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I think if you're looking for like long term, is it a good hold? I mean, if the player takes off, those should do well.
Yeah.
If you get kind of the next transcendent star, the next face of the league, then you'll probably do well. I don't know. It'll be hard for them to really surpass Prism, unless Panini botches it, which is who knows? It's entirely possible, right?
Right.
But it just has such a kind of Prism has such a stranglehold on the market right now. Let's just hope Panini doesn't get too greedy and
Right.
These things up to 5 or 10,000 print runs.
Yeah.
Silver Prisms and keeps them somewhat hard to find. Because look, you could say there's so many Luka Doncic Silver Prisms out there, but realistically, you can go and you could buy 2 cases and not hit one. You can spend a ton of money trying to find one and actually not find one.
Right.
And you know what? That becomes his career. If he's a 5-time All-Star and that's it, okay, you'll probably lose money. But they're still going to sell you the dream that if this guy becomes the next superstar, then
Sure.
2,000 won't be enough to go around. Because again, how many MJ 86ers are out there?
Enough for everybody.
I don't know. Yeah, but the price is still sky high because everybody wants one. Like if you're a basketball collector, you want that card. Whether or not you're going to go out and spend the money on it, like you want it.
Right. Well, I mean, if Jordan had like an exquisite at a 99 rookie, it would be ridiculous, right? Like we already seen the prices of stuff that's not rare. What if he had like a rare rookie card?
Yeah, I mean, it would be it'd be unbelievable. So I mean, don't. That's what you see. That's what you see with LeBron's exquisite.
Sure.
It's a 6-figure card all day right now.
Sure.
So yeah, imagine what Jordan would have been like.
So I think a lot of people watching would like this question. So if you're a beginner, either in the flipping game or let's start with investing. So if you're a beginner in the investing game, what sort of advice would you give someone? Especially like one problem that happens with people that jump into it is they kind of get burned early and then they kind of give up. So what's like something that someone could kind of come in and like not get burned right away?
Well, again, I think a couple things I've already mentioned. One is, again, be honest. Don't come in with the idea that, I'm going to rip somebody off and that's how I'm going to, make my fortune taking advantage of other people. Don't do that. Um, um, so kind of be honest with people. Don't get in too deep. Things like anything you're investing, right? It should be sideline. It should be clean money. I mean, again, I don't go out and spend a ton of money on the weekend, doing stuff I would have done when I was like 23. So, if I want to spend it on sports cards and, the value goes down, so what, right? And again, just start somewhere, learn through experience. If you lose, consider it. That's, experience you pay for. And know something, like really dig into learning something and being the best at it and knowing as much as anybody in it.
Yep.
That's how you learn.
Yep. And also, don't invest in rookies during their rookie year.
I mean, yeah.
It's just like if you're coming into it new, it's scary because like that's what everyone's collecting, and you can just get destroyed.
Yeah, you can. There've probably been some instances of when that's worked out.
You're thinking.
I'm trying to think. I can, unless you spot something, unless you spot some trend, right?
Right.
I mean, something even worse than investing in. And this is a card I picked out as an investment. Something worse than investing in a player in his rookie year. I invested in a player in his rookie year while he wasn't even playing, while he was sitting out. So this is okay. So I'll show you right now. I think I have it up here, right? You wanted me to show off a few cards. All right. Um, this is I bought this for literally the cheapest it's ever went for on eBay. I don't know. Camera's got some glare on it, pretty bad.
Simmons Silver Prism.
Cinnamon Silver Prism, right? So I was, yeah, glare's bad, but you can see it apparently. I paid $3.25 for it. I'm like a 15% eBay bucks or discount or something like that, right? And again, it was during the playoffs, the season that he was out, so nobody was talking about him. He was forgotten about, right? That was when the silver craze was really starting.
Yeah.
And so realized that, um, this guy didn't have he's got the upper deck license, so he didn't have any autos. He was missing a lot of the stuff that a lot of guys had. So basically, like if you're collecting Simmons, this is kind of the card. This is the '89 Griffey of Ben Simmons, right? This is the '86 Fleer. This is the card to have. So why not get it in the best possible condition? Because you think about, okay, people think that there are too many silver prisms out there. There aren't that many in PSA 10. I think there's under 100 Simmons in PSA 10, right?
Yeah.
If this guy becomes, an MVP and big thing in the league, right? There's going to be way more demand for that card than there is copies of them, right?
Sure.
And again, you you can't remake a rookie year card like that. Demand can outweigh the supply. But again, this isn't just going all in on him. This is going in on the other factors that he doesn't have. A lot of the other cards the other guys have. He doesn't have a legit national contenders or national treasures RPA. And I kind of waited until he cooled off a little bit.
Yeah.
So there were some other factors, but yeah, it gets dangerous if you just jump on the hype train when everybody else is jumping on.
Sure.
Because, they're just as quick to jump off.
But I mean, you're so like skilled at this point. You're not even able to see like that you mentioned like all these different trends and things that other people may not see. Someone coming in new, it's like they're not gonna be able to spot all those trends. They don't know the market of that kind of stuff as well as you do.
You know what? Then maybe I'd advise them to jump on and buy something that's on the hype train. And then when you lose, you learn the lesson, right?
Yeah, that's right. Sure.
Don't put everything in, into one guy. Like Luka's hot right now. I wouldn't suggest, taking out a second mortgage in your house to buy everything you have because, he turns an ankle tomorrow and people forget about him. You lose your house. But hey, if you want to get into collecting and you think maybe this guy's big, yeah, go ahead, go buy a silver prism or something. And if you lose your money, then that's a lesson you learned. If not, then you win.
Sure.
Okay.
So the second side of this question, do you think there's a place in the hobby for people to use this as like a real investment engine? I'm talking like high-end people coming in from, people coming over from like investing in high-end paintings or cars, like that sort of crowd. Do you think there's like a place for those types of people? Because I personally think that that's an important part of the hobby that a lot of people don't want to know or don't want to talk about, but I think it has a lot of importance to it.
Yeah. So there's a level to this that like I don't understand and I've never seen. Right there, I think you've had some people on your show that like the stuff they're showing off makes my stuff look like like a bunch of commons, right? They just have crazy high dollar stuff, and good for them. That's awesome. Um, Whether it's a hobby or an investment, like look, I remember hearing the story about when Wayne Gretzky spent $1.2 million on Honus Wagner. And it was like, what's he doing? It's so much money. He sells it for double or whatever, Again, if it's your only investment vehicle, it's probably not a good thing. I think there are a lot of investments that you can, have a lot of advantages over sports cards, to say the least. But I mean, look, if it gives you the opportunity to enjoy it to a certain amount and then maybe make some money off of it. There have been a lot of people that have lost money and enjoyed the hobby, and that's fine with them. But hey, there are people that have put big money into this and made big money on it. But if you're going to do that, and if you are going to go into it with a goal of making money, whether it be I want to make a couple $100 this year, or you know what, I'm going to throw 50 grand in this and try to make money. I mean, you want to pay attention to it, put your time in, learn, and know what you're doing.
Yep.
And it's really the key.
Yep. I 100% agree. I think it's all based on like genuine interest in the hobby.
Yeah.
You're going to do a whole lot better if you're genuinely interested. Then you're going to want to study it more. You're going to understand the market more. It's just going to all naturally happen better for you.
Yeah. You know what? So I, there aren't that many card shows where I'm at in California. LA is like, I don't know why there's so few card shows around here, but there's one in Long Beach, the nice part of Long Beach, with a ton of money. And it's actually like the West Coast Coin Expo every quarter. And I went there once because there were like 5 card tables, and I was just amazed that there were these 5 card tables, and there was like 85 coin tables, and people just selling stuff for big money, right? And my immediate thought was like, man, there's so much money coming through here. I wish I could get in on this. I wish I could be a part of it. But, I researched it. I just have no interest in it. I just
Right.
don't have the drive. I knew if I started trying to collect, I'd be one of the rubes that just, buys this, doesn't appreciate and throws their money away. So it's like, all right, I'm not going to do this, right?
Right.
And there's people that I'm sure, you could tell there are people that they were coin dealers for a living, and they probably make a heck of a lot of good money doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but again, it's not my passion, so how could I really spend the time and effort in getting into it?
So are we ever going to have 85 card tables at one of these things?
Not in LA. No, I don't think so. Not in LA. I don't know what's wrong. Why shows don't work out here, but they don't. I guess thank goodness for eBay.
Yeah. It's all in Chicago right now.
Oh yeah.
All the shows are there. Why don't you show us a couple cards and we'll wrap it up.
Cool. So I brought out. Let's see. I pulled out a few things that kind of nothing major compared to the other folks you have on here. But it's just kind of cool things that I got as kind of my flip or other just kind of investment stuff. So the first one, this is if you see that.
Try backing it up a little bit.
Yeah, is this any better?
Yeah, it's better.
Very cool. It's a 93 Finest Jordan. I think I picked this up for about 150 or 125. Actually off a blowout a while back. And man, I just remember that card came out. You just wanted the base Jordan.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. So they actually get the refractor. Like, I love this card because it is literally the first basketball refractor ever made.
Yep.
It's card 1 in the 93 Finest set. Like, to me, that's a card I would invest in even if I didn't pick it up so cheap.
Yep.
Because it's pretty iconic and it kind of tells the story of basketball collecting right there. So that's actually one of the coolest, one of my favorite cards that I own.
That's one that always feels too cheap for me. Whenever someone asks me, like, what's a card that feels too cheap? And that's one. Because it's like, everything's a refractor now. What if you could have the first one of the best player of all time?
Yeah. So it's got everything. It's got that. It's got nostalgia. It's kind of a great card. Again, I feel lucky because I got it for cheap and graded out pretty well. And yeah, it's a cool card.
I love that one.
All right. So the next one is a story. So this will be a little long-winded. So again, I grew up a LeBron fan and missed all his early collecting years. Got back into it. I think I kept one of those Topps Chrome rookies. And then I tried 3 times to get this card, and every single time it didn't work out. The person didn't ship it. One person sent me like a blank envelope and tried to rip me off, and it just did not work every single time. So finally, it was May 2016. The Cavs were in the playoffs. The Warriors had 73 wins, and this thing was creeping up. And I just pulled the trigger. Talk about buying things at market value. For $550, I pulled the trigger on this. And it's LeBron's Chrome Refractor.
Yes.
9.
Love it.
Pulled the trigger on it, and then it was a total FOMO move because my thought was like, look, they're not going to win, but man, what if they do? They do, and the thing goes bonkers.
Right.
And it's a $2,000 card 2 months after that, and it's even more now. And it's just personal. I just knew, like, look, if this thing jumps like it could have,
Yep.
Personally, I just choose not to spend $2-3 grand on, basketball card. It's just, I could, but that's not where I want to put my money.
Yep.
Just because it's a great investment. I'm not going to sell it. Realistically, I'm not going to sell it.
Fantastic card. I mean, that one's like, Jordan doesn't have a rookie refractor and
Yeah.
LeBron does, and it's in-game action, whereas all the current ones, they're standing there. I think that one separates itself a lot.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So that I got that one. Which actually the other half of that story with I was already pretty deep into my flip. Um, and it brings the question of what am I actually flipping for? Which right now, um, my, yeah. So I don't know what I flipped for. I turned $49 on a pretty nice sum, but like originally my end game was to get a Jordan Fleer 9, and like I got there. I'm like I don't want to stop this. I want to cash in.
Yeah,
But
the flip is
so
the fun, right? It's not even like you're not even. There's no real goal. You're just doing it because you like it.
it's just fun until I see something. I guess the answer is till I see something worth cashing in on,
Yeah,
and it's probably going to be sports related, but it might not be.
right.
The thing I joke around about is for my birthday this year, my wife rented me a Ferrari 488 for the day.
Nice.
Um, and I joke around like I just got to get it up to like 300K, and then I can just cash in and get that car. But it's pretty much joking on that one. But the first one time I cashed this in basically was um, it was during the NBA Finals. I'm watching, Cavs are down 1-3. They win a game, they win another. Game 6 they win, and it was the game where LeBron wins and Steph Curry has his little temper tantrum,
Yep.
right?
Throws the mouthpiece.
Throws the mouthpiece, and they interview LeBron after the game, and the person in the interview, I mean, they try to get him. They're like, LeBron, what did you think of that meltdown? They try to get a quote out of him.
Right.
He was stone cold, like they're a great team. We need to focus on Game 7. So you have one team having a meltdown, having a crisis, the other one is just focused. And at that very moment, I said to myself, hey, the Cavs are going to win Game 7 because that team is focused, that team is composed, this other one's having a meltdown. And then I realized Game 7 was happening like 6, 7, 8 hours north of me of a drive. And I just decided, I think it was the day before the game, I just woke up and I just decided, like, I'm going to the game.
Yep.
I had enough money in my foot thread that my wife signed off on it. Like, okay, this is your play money, so why not? Bought a ticket, went there, was like the only Cavs fan in the section. I just got ragged on for and then the Cavs won, and it was just crazy. The place got quiet. I could still remember when Kyrie hit the shot. I swear to God, there was a gasp of air. The air pressure in the building changed because all the work just gasped when he hit the shot. It was that tense. I swear to you, the air pressure changed. I was kind of up in the second row, so second deck. So that was like my first big cash in, and like for a moment like that,
absolutely.
You don't win anything.
Yep.
Like, you'll never replicate that moment. So.
Well, I hope everyone watches the end of the video and they realize like you actually cashed in on something amazing and like a great moment in basketball history and not just like some dumb car or whatever.
Yeah, and ultimately that's what it's about. Like this is fun for me. It's cool. When I can flip something and make some money out of it. But this is a hobby. This is ultimately fun. So that's this.
So I have one last question, and you can't think about flipping or investing at all. I'm going to humanize you. What's your favorite basketball card?
Favorite basketball card?
Just like looks or history, whatever it is about it. Like, don't even think about what it costs, and just like completely separate yourself from, the money side of it.
I'm gonna give two answers, right? One's gonna be kind of on the point. I don't know if I could pick one. The LeBron refractor is pretty cool because I got burnt so many times trying to get it.
You could do two.
Something I have. I'm gonna choose this, and I'm gonna do non-basketball answer. This card's pretty cool, and I'm trying to actually go after the whole set. You talked about optic, how it might work, right?
Yep.
The optic preview, the way they just slipped them in the packs.
Yep.
They didn't announce it. Nobody knew how rare they were. And again, same thing. Simmons is card number 1 in the set, so that's the optic taking off and being a great brand, and that's the first optic card ever made. I mean, from everything I can see, there's about 15 copies of those. Some people know about it, so it's exceedingly rare. And if it's a landmark set, that's a big deal. So that's one, and then here I'm gonna grab it off the shelf here because this is my single favorite sports collectible.
Sweet.
Right?
Yes.
You'll need to hear the story because otherwise you won't get it.
Of course, that's what this is about, man. Stories.
Yeah. So this this happened when I was 1990. I was 8 years old, and it's a smeared autograph Frank Thomas baseball. I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah, he'll hold it back a little bit and then tilt it down.
Can you see how it's smeared?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you think like, wow, this is a lot more valuable stuff in your collection. Why is that hands down your favorite? Um, yeah, and Indians weren't that good. So you're a kid, you don't think our rivalries that much. Frank Thomas was my favorite player back then. Indians were still bad. And back in the day, they had an old stadium. You could go down before the game, wait for players to arrive, get autographs. Well, I'm waiting for the White Sox. My grandfather took me, and I'm sitting there, little 8-year-old me, and I still remember this as clear as day. Even though I was like 8, this taxi cab pulls up, open, and out pops out Frank Thomas and Bo Jackson, right? Just the two largest human beings I had seen in my life, and I just happened to be place at the right time, and Frank, grabs, signs the ball, signs it, and then as it gives it back, smears it with his own hand, right? um, Whatever for value. Okay, that's not good for it, but I don't care. This would be the last thing I'd ever sell in my collection because, one is just the childhood awe of seeing your hero and actually meeting him in real life.
Right.
And then, two is, it's a great memory I had of my grandfather who's, think about that. He liked sports, but he wasn't like a sports collector. This didn't mean anything to him. This is just him spending, 6 hours of his day, some hot summer day outside waiting for autographs, just spend time with me, which is totally awesome. So, I mean, it's just a great memory all around. So that's like my favorite, single favorite piece of memorabilia or whatever that I have.
Awesome. That's a great way to end it, man. I like that story a lot.
Cool.
All right, Tom. Well, it was great talking with you. Thanks for all the advice and the investment stuff. I hope people get something from it, and we'll see you around.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, man.
See ya.